Given the Prime Minister's desire to strengthen strategic alignment with our European neighbours, will he, in the interests of public safety, follow the lead of France, Denmark, Belgium and others and ban the burka?
Prime Minister.
Can I welcome her to her place? But I'm not going to follow her down that line. But now she is here and safely in her place, perhaps she could tell her new party leader that his latest plan to bet £80 billion of unfunded tax cuts, with no idea how he's going to pay for it, is Liz Truss all over again. Although, considering I think she was a Conservative member when Liz Truss was leader, she probably won't.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has firmly rejected a call from Reform UK MP Sarah Pochin to consider a nationwide ban on the burqa, setting the stage for a fiery clash over cultural identity and religious freedom in Parliament. During a tense exchange in the House of Commons on Wednesday, Pochin, one of Reform's newest MPs, directly challenged Starmer on whether he would back legislation prohibiting the wearing of the burqa in public spaces, a move that would mirror bans in countries like France and Denmark. Will the leader of the opposition commit to standing up for British values and ban the burqa in the UK? Pochin asked. Drawing murmurs across the chamber, Starmer responded with a brief but pointed rebuke. I welcome her to her place, but I'm not going to follow her down that line. The Labour leader's reply was met with a mixture of applause from his own benches and visible discomfort from the right-wing flank of the chamber. The exchange immediately ignited debate across Westminster and social media, with commentators framing it as the latest culture war flashpoint in British politics. Reform UK, bolstered by its anti-immigration platform and increasingly vocal stance on British identity, has long flirted with proposals seen by critics as Islamophobic or divisive. Pochin's question marks a bold, some would say provocative, entry into Parliament as the party seeks to gain traction with voters who feel the political mainstream has lost touch with cultural concerns. In rejecting her proposal, Starmer drew a line in the sand. While he kept his answer measured, it was a clear signal that Labour under his leadership will resist attempts to politicize religious dress, a move that could inflame tensions at a time of heightened sensitivity around multiculturalism and integration. For Starmer, the exchange with Pochin posed a delicate challenge. His leadership has been defined by an attempt to recenter Labour as a party of both progressive values and national stability, alienating Muslim voters, many of whom feel increasingly under siege amid rising Islamophobia and global tensions, would be a political misstep. But appearing indifferent to concerns around national identity also carries electoral risk, particularly in former Red Wall constituencies, where Reform UK has been making inroads. While the issue of banning religious garments is unlikely to gain serious legislative momentum, its political potency remains intact. For Reform UK, questions like Pochin's are less about policy outcomes and more about establishing ideological territory, forcing mainstream parties to react or risk being seen as out of touch. For Labour, Starmer's response reflects his ongoing strategy. Keep the party away from inflammatory distractions, stay grounded in practical governance, and avoid falling into culture war traps set by his critics. Still, as Reform UK continues to test the boundaries of political discourse, Starmer's composure and messaging will remain under scrutiny. The burqa debate may have flared briefly, but it signals a deeper tension brewing in British politics. Who defines British values, and how far leaders are willing to go to defend or redefine them?
Why is it that Keir Starmer's Attorney General, Lord Hermer, represented all these clients? He says cab rank rule, and it's a vital legal principle. Gary, what's the cab rank rule?
It means the first cab of any rank must take the first customer.
Easy. And it's the same for many lawyers. Criminal barristers can represent people accused of horrific crimes because everyone knows they had to take the case. What's true for our criminal barristers just wasn't true for Lord Hermer. He was a top human rights lawyer. He will have been inundated with cases, able to choose the pick of the bunch. And what's more, he often worked on a pro bono or no win, no fee basis. And the cab rank rule just doesn't apply to these cases. In other words, when Hermer's cab arrived, he chose his passengers. Jerry Adams, not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 terrorists linked to Al-Qaeda, including 2 of Osama bin Laden's lieutenants, 1 linked to 9/11, and 1 to 21/7. The mother of an ISIS beetle, Shamima Begum, Caribbean nations demanding reparations, and an Eritrean man who was here illegally, who claimed to be 16, but was actually 26. If someone wants to spend their life defending Britain's enemies, that's on them and their conscience. But that someone shouldn't be chosen to be our Attorney General. We've never had an Attorney General so connected to so many people suing the British government. Now, before the general election, Hermer represented 5 Sri Lankans seeking asylum in the United Kingdom. They lost the case. After the election, they were granted asylum in a special deal. Now, even if all the correct procedures were put in place on conflicts of interest, even the perception of this kind of stuff damages public trust. Last week, people called for Hermer to resign after he likened those criticising the ECHR to the Nazis. But the truth is, Starmer should never have appointed him in the first place. And why did he? Because they share exactly the same views. Britain deserves better than the pair of them.
In what is fast becoming a political flashpoint, Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer is facing mounting pressure over his decision to elevate Lord Hermer, a high-profile human rights barrister, as his choice for Attorney General in a future Labour government. The backlash has been swift and fierce, not least because of Lord Hermer's legal track record, defending a litany of individuals and causes that many Britons consider synonymous with hostility to the United Kingdom. At the heart of the controversy is a question that cuts to the core of public trust. Why would the leader of the opposition pick as his chief legal advisor someone whose career has been defined by defending those widely seen as Britain's enemies? Starmer himself is no stranger to the courtroom. As former Director of Public Prosecutions, he built a reputation as a meticulous legal mind with a strong sense of justice. Insiders say Starmer's selection of Hermer reflects a lawyer's admiration for rigorous constitutional thinking rather than a politician's concern for optics. Conservative MEMPs have wasted no time capitalizing on the story. Starmer's mask has slipped, said Home Secretary James Cleverly in a fiery interview on LBC. This isn't a man of the people, it's a man of the lawyers. He's handing the keys to our legal system to someone who's spent decades fighting against British interests. Expect more of this in the coming weeks, as the story is folded into broader Tory talking points. Labour's weakness on immigration, national security, and its perceived hostility to traditional values